What's up there, guys? My name is Matthew. I'm here with the Christian Penguin 1990 YouTube channel for creation apologetics. And like I said, there's probably probably only going to be those two videos that I did that were politics based, which was talking about gun control and stuff about the House Bill 2 that's going on in North Carolina. But this one I'm really excited about. I really am, because I'm going to cover something I really love, and I love dinosaurs. I don't know about y'all, but I really do love dinosaurs. They're just awesome creatures of God, in my opinion. And the one I want to talk about is they're starting to find a bunch of these fossils with dinosaur tissue in them. Now, originally they said it was something else, but now they're finding out no, it's not something else. It's actually dinosaur tissue. And the reason I find that fascinating, like I said, is because some are saying that this proves that they weren't millions of years old, because if they were millions of years old, then they couldn't still have tissue. And even the evolutionists were like, well, yeah, technically. So we need to find out how they were able. Even now, I want to stop there real quick, because while a lot of evolutionists looked at it and all of a sudden they're like, well, that's true. How in the world are they able to maintain the tissue for millions of years when tissue should have been gone? I'll give them that. But at the same token, on the creation side, even creationists are like, well, we didn't think it would survive for millions of years anyway, but we're not even sure how it survived for thousands of years. So it both sides are still trying to figure out how it could survive that long. Because with Noah's flood, or not Noah's flood, God caused the flood, but the flood during the days of Noah, the dinosaurs would have been buried and so on. Then, see, I want to get the date right in my head real quick. Give me a second. Um, that's I'd say about maybe 4,000, 3 to 4,000 years ago. I'd have to look all the dates up, but approximately, give or take 1,000. How could the dinosaur tissue survive? So even on the creationist side, while they're so excited about it because it does help show that they're not as old as people have said, at the same token, now they're backtracking like, well, wait a minute, we don't even know how it could survive thousands of years. So we need to look at it too. Okay, so what happened is a lady discovered it, and she went on, and eventually they let her go on 60 Minutes and talk about the dinosaur tissue. And on that show, she actually admitted um, that she was scared to come out about it because of what it could possibly mean and so on. And my first thought with that was, well, why are you scared to come out with the truth? If you're finding real dinosaur tissue, regardless of which side, you know, it could go towards, you are supposed to show the truth in science. You're not supposed to hide it. You're supposed to reveal it. So, and that was where I came with that opinion. But anyway, so she went on, and then even the reporter for 60 Minutes, I think, asked, well, how did it survive for so long? And she said, we don't know. Okay, now after that, if I'm understanding her research right, which I did look up, after that interview, they said, okay, well, since you found it, now you got to figure out how it's doing it, because, basically you're the one that found it, so keep going with it. So she went with it, and she started studying, and from what I understood of her research, what they did is they took an ostrich tissue. I don't know if it was a full heart or not, but it was ostrich tissue, and they uh, put it in a heavy iron hemoglobin solution and let it sit for 2 years, and then they put the other one by itself, and of course that one decayed really fast. The one in the iron hemoglobin solution, while it still had some decay, that's a key point, which I'll bring up in a minute, it did not decay as much. So they theorized that somehow the heavier the iron sorry, got hiccups again. The heavier the iron content of the hemoglobin in the blood helped sustain the tissue for a long period of time. Now, the reason I said remember the key point that still decayed, points you need to understand. Number one, they did this in a controlled setting, and the only thing that tissue was in, from what I read of her notes, was the heavily ironed up hemoglobin blood. That's all it was in. Okay. Number two, there was still some decay, and I couldn't find the percentage of how much decay happened. So I basically started crunching some numbers, and I did. I forgot my little notebook. Let me use my calculator here real quick for you. So let's say at what was it? At 2 years, only 0.01% happened. Okay. Now, so after 2 years, 0.01% happened. So for every 2 years, you would get 0.01%. Okay, so let's do the creationist first. So let's say it was at 4,000 years divided by 0.01, or excuse me, times. My bad, it's times, it's not divided. So that would equal only 40% decay at 4,000 years. So at 8,000 years, you would have 80% decay, and then past that, you would finally get your 100% decay and the tissue would be gone. So if at 0.01%, or excuse me, at 1% of decay, which is 0.01, so at 1% decay after 2 years, that would actually fit the creation standpoint of 4,000 years. So now, like I said, that would fit the creation side. But let's say it was 1%, it would not fit the evolutionary scale of millions of years. And like I said, I will keep going back for it, and if I find an update, I will update this video and show it to you. But for right now, I don't see anything that shows how much percent of the decay happened. It doesn't say if it was 1%, it doesn't say if it was 0.1%, it doesn't say. I couldn't find it. I'm sorry if it's there and I just missed it. But if I will keep going back, and when I find it, if she comes out and says, well, I did it and 10% decay happened, you know, so on, then I'll be, okay, so here's an updated video. I found the reference. She said this much. But right now, like I said, I have not found it, and I'm guessing. Because it said, although a little decay or some decay happened, majority of it was still intact. So I'm guessing it was probably around the 1% area. Not enough for them to really care to talk about it, so that's what I'm saying. It's probably 1%. And like I said, if it was 1% every 2 years, then if you divide that into if you do the calculation, every 2 years you got 1%. So at 2,000 years, then you times that by, so every 2,000 years you would have 20%. So at 4,000 years you would have 40%. At 6,000 years you would have 60. At 8,000 years, and so on, until eventually you had your 100% decay. And with that, like I said, that does, if it was 1% that was noticed, that does go into helping prove the creation side. Let me try one more thing. Let's say if it was 0.01%. So that should make it 0.001. So every 2 years you had 0.001 of decay. Okay. So you only get 4% at 4,000 years. So every 4,000 years you would have 4% decay. So now, with that, so you have 4,000, you have 8,000. That's only 8%, and and so on. And that could probably get closer. I still don't think that would really go all the way into the millions and millions of years that they're saying, like 65 million years. It wouldn't reach that far. But the lower the percentage, the more it could lean to that side. But for right now, like I said, because I have not found the percentage, I'm guessing. So I'm guessing it was probably 1% around there. And without the actual percentage rate, I don't really want to go one side or the other. But I just wanted to show you that. So if it was 1% decay after 2 years, every 2 years you had 1% decay. If that stayed constant, then it would match up with the 4 to 5,000 year range. um, or excuse me, it would match up with the creation side. uh, sorry, my throat's dry. If it was a lot lower percentage, it could match up to the other side. So right now, until her official notes, so please do not take this video and run with it and saying, see, he proved, this side or that side. That's not what I'm doing this for. I'm just guessing. I'm telling you right now, it is a guess that it was 1% or lower. I don't know. I have not found her notes to find anywhere in it that says how much of a percentage the decay was. Okay, so please don't take that as why I'm making this video. But anyway, like I said, I will keep researching it. I will make an update if she comes out and says there was this much percentage of decay in that 2 year span and add that. Okay, now after that rabbit trail, back to what I was originally talking about. Okay, so the problems with it was she only used that one version where it was just in the blood. She did not cover it up with sediment or anything else like that, from what I read. And the reason I say that is because all the dinosaur bones have been found buried in the sediment. They are buried in the rock. So while iron seems to be a good substance that helps maintain the tissue to keep it from decaying faster, there might have been some other element in the rock that allowed it to survive thousands of years, whatever. So more research needs to be done. So please, like I said, go do your own research on both sides. Um, but for right now, don't jump to any conclusions on iron when it comes to dinosaur tissue. Because like I said, if it was only 1% decay within that area every 2 years in that state of constant, that would lean towards the creation side. If it was a lot lower decay percentage, like say 0.001% or whatever, then that's when you're getting into your farther side. But even that's kind of far-fetched because you don't know if it would be a constant. You don't know what would affect it while being in the rock, if something would add to it. Most likely what happened is something did slow it down. But the question is what really had the effect to slow it down enough to where you could still find dinosaur tissue. Now, this is my opinion, not scientific fact, just my opinion, is that the tissue helps show that the dinosaurs are not as old as people think they are on their side. I think they're thousands of years old. I do not think they're millions of years old. And so I do think that the tissue helps show that to an extent. But like I said, I'll keep doing the research on it. And if she comes out with a percentage rate of how much decayed over 2 years, 4 years, whatever it was, I'll update the video. But in the meantime, I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you go to do your own research on dinosaur tissue from both the creation side and the evolutionary side, like you should do all things. Look at both sides and make up your own mind. Until next time, guys, I just hope that God continues to bless your lives and may you always be happy in everything you do. See you next time. God bless.